Hello, and welcome to the Financial Literacy Fireside Chat series hosted by the Global Shapers Edmonton Hub. This is part one of a 5-part series where the three of us will discuss various personal finance topics. And here with me today is myself, Alex Namath. We have Joel Shackleton and Nicholas Menden. So we're doing all of this for the Financial Literacy Month of November. So the first question, gentlemen, what scares you about personal finance? Joel, start with yourself.
So for me, I'm taking what I think is a topic that I think is misunderstood or not considered enough in our lives, and that's inflation. As a kid, what did inflation mean to me? Basically nothing. But it always confused me to watch the prices in a vending machine go up. So you have a Snickers bar that when I was 12 years old was 50 cents or 75 cents. And then by the time I was 18, it was $1. And now that I'm a 30-year-old guy, it's $1.75, $1.90 for the exact same product. And what was that, right? Why is it that kept on going up in price? And that was inflation. And I think that our economy, the general population of Canada and the world misunderstands inflation. The only people that I think that have a good understanding of it are the Argentinian people, but generally speaking,
or in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, or Zimbabwe.
Yeah, very good examples.
Very good examples, but understanding it and being able to prevent it from affecting you and your personal financial situation is a concept and an understanding that if we all grasped, we would all benefit a whole lot more. And so my hope moving forward and with our financial, our project here is to educate people more on what it takes to defer or to battle against inflation and what it means to economies, businesses, yourself personally, and what it takes to combat it. So that to me is what scares me, and that's also what I hope to educate people on.
I think people you'll often hear, especially the older generations, they'll talk about, hey, in my day I used to be able to buy a bottle of Coke for 25 cents, and I think part of that comparison isn't really as accurate because of the lack of understanding of how inflation impacts each one of us.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, completely. Everyone's seen the McDonald's menu in the
yeah.
1960s, right? Like 10 cents for a cheeseburger, and now today you're lucky to get it for $2.50.
Well, like inflation, even if you're trying to consider something long term, whether it's a personal project or even something for work, it's the cost. The inflation's a cost. Like it has to be considered, right?
Yeah, and I think personally, if everyone grasped it a little bit better, we do better as whether we be investors or business managers or even choosing professions. If you just had a better understanding of it, you'd be a more durable person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. What about yourself?
What scares me the most, I think, is actually just from my experience, is what the average knowledge about personal finance is, and that's really going to impact all of us because if each one of us doesn't have the skills to manage our own finances properly, that's going to build up and potentially create a lot of risks for the financial system and policy that we'll eventually all be paying for, so to speak. So I think that the more people that are equipped to manage their own finances properly, the better we're all going to be. So I think that that's part of what this month is about, and what the project we're doing is making sure that more people have these tools at their disposal.
Yeah, it's not so much just like case by case basis. It's kind of that collective level of a whole group of people being more informed about personal finance, right?
Yeah.
And how that could affect, like you said, policy at provincial or federal level.
And the earlier that you learn about personal finance, the better you'll be able to have a grasp on it. Because really, when you're thinking about someone who's just starting a career versus someone who's in their 50s or 60s, there's a lot less that you can do to resolve your scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I had an answer plan, but I just changed my mind all of a sudden. So what scares me about personal finance, I suppose it's the flood of information that you get from whether it's commercials or different websites about hot stocks or hot investments and trying to attract people to buy certain things that literally it's because, because of the name, or maybe the person that's promoting it, or maybe you've seen the brand somewhere. It doesn't necessarily translate to a good investment or a company with strong underlying fundamentals. And I think it's so easy to, I call it trick, but to attract people that maybe don't have a solid understanding of personal finance, diversifying, what you own, investing, to buy these investments that may seem like the best thing in the world when you see it on TV, but are at the end of the day completely garbage.
Well, there's also, I think, the
Right.
psychology around it is even more prevalent now, because especially with FOMO and that kind of culture, that can be applied to investments as well. And then you're potentially just investing in something because you want to keep up with everyone else, and that's usually not the best choice.
No, and I think one of the cruxes of our generation, millennials, and the future one of Gen Z, is that we are keeping up with the Joneses, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith next door, and seeing them go out and buy a new SUV, and then go out and go on a vacation. Our worlds have actually expanded to include a whole lot more people. And we are now comparing ourselves with not just our neighbors, but then people that are
thousands of
miles away. And
The top 0.1%.
Exactly, right? Which only influences our consumption more.
Yeah.
And the young people are comparing themselves to the likes of David Dobrik, to people on YouTube, very famous people that perhaps aren't in the same situation as them.
Right.
And they're trying to keep up with them, and they're taking on debts that they don't understand. And my hope is that, not just us, but just in general, that we can perhaps push back on that and give people the tools to fight the urges that I think come with social media and our shrunken world, in terms of, I can now compare myself directly to The Rock, and that's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I can't travel with a gym in my plane to any part of the world, right? It would be beautiful, it would be amazing, but I can't. And to think that I can is insane. And to compare myself to these people is also inappropriate.
Right.
And to realize what's available to you, and what you shouldn't be comparing yourself to them, and to live within your own means is very, very important.
Yeah, it comes down to just what you were saying, like basic education about personal finance, and just having some basic understandings of investments and what is feasible and what's not, and just kind of almost thinking for yourself. I don't know, that's kind of how I see it.
But yeah, question number one.
Question number one. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. That's part one of our 5-part series. Stay tuned for part 2.